Today I have a thread on Reddit called "What Are People Addicted To?" that they don't even know they're addicted to it. So we'll just kind of go through that thread, do some commentary on it. And I want to do a Patreon shout out because I officially hit 20 patrons. So we'll celebrate that. But first, you know the drill. We gotta do some maintenance, some hygiene, some housekeeping. So, if you're new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back, OGs. If you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you are old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like if you like, leave a comment. It can be anything related to the video. It can just be a hello, a few emojis, anything as long as it's cool, as long as it's respectful. Just a little hair on my lap. Hit the notification bell. And as always, I will link my tip jars down there in the description box. No pressure whatsoever. But every $1, every $2, every $5 helps immensely. I appreciate it so much. That is what allows me to continue to make content. You're invited to my Patreon. The link is down below. My email's down there for customs. Instagram's down there. All that stuff down there. Okay. So let's do my shout outs to my patrons. Shout outs to my patrons. Shout outs to my patrons. Thank you to everybody that joined my Patreon. You can join anytime. At first I thought that, because it used to be this way, that if you signed up on like later in the month, that it would bill you would get on the first of the month. But the notification that I got said like just say like it said John subscribed on the 13th, and then he won't be billed again until the 13th. So I guess they changed it. So I think you can just sign up whenever now, which is pretty cool. That's a lot cooler than like, oh, you better wait till the first of the month because they're, what was that? That doesn't make sense. So I think they fixed that issue. I mean, don't mark my words because I'm still new to that platform, but I think they fixed it. All right, we're going to go into my thread that I have. Can find it. Maybe I can't even find it. I just had it. This is weird. Hold on. It was in my saves on Reddit, so I didn't even usually I take the link and I post it into my notes. No, why be consistent? Why not cause myself some frustration later? So, this is on the Ask Reddit. And it's, what is an addiction that people have but they don't know? I'm fully aware of my addictions. Screen time. Sometimes spending is my addiction. Let's see. Oh, the first one on here is shopping and spending addiction. My mother-in-law has it and just thinks she can't pass up a good deal. The store clerks know her by name and she buys so much stuff. She has bought the same thing twice for my kids. It's honestly very sad. And it is sad. Stay out of the stores. Stay out of the stores. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. I've seen my friends who are in dire, their money situation was not good. And then they're on Snapchat posting all the things that they're buying. Ma'am, this makes no sense. You're you're crying about not having money for like something important. You're coming home from the mall with a couple pairs of shoes, shirts, makeup, Ulta, Sephora. Like, what are you doing? It's an addiction. And people can rack up a lot of debt. Somebody said, agreed, I've given up most of my substance addictions other than caffeine because life is exhausting. And now I'm taking a real look at shopping. I don't do it nearly as often as most people that I know. But yeah, because even if it's not as much as people, what if you're comparing yourselves to like the worst, the biggest shoppers? Then you're not going to have a good scale of what's normal. And here's the thing. Your house is going to fill up with crap. And if you ever have to move, you have to move it. And if you ever pass away, somebody's got to sort it. Like, just don't buy it in the first place, because even getting rid of it is a pain in the butt. It's like you have to sell it or you have to bag it up, take it to go. And nobody wants your junk anymore. That's the other thing. People that shop a lot, they think that everybody wants their junk. Like, well, I'll just donate it. Not all that stuff is going to get taken up. Some of it's still going to end up in the landfill. I'd say if you have a shopping addiction, at least turn it into a thrifting addiction. Because then you're buying stuff that's already been made. It's already out in the world. It's not going to drive the demand for it up for no reason. Get a thrifting addiction. Trade that. Like harm reduction. This is the big one. I've fallen into it too, somewhat. External validation. It is so hard to not have a bad day when you upload a video and it's just like not getting views. I think I was just reading about this on a Reddit, like a YouTuber Reddit too. I was like, how do you get over like when your video goes up and it's just like not getting your normal views? Now, I don't get too bent on it, but in the slightest way, it does affect me. And I don't want it to affect me like that at all. So I have some work to do. And a lot of the remedies were like, you did your job. You filmed, you uploaded, and then it's time to let it go. And if you do that material again and it kind of bombs, then just don't do that one again. A lot of times though, it's the damn algorithm. That's an easy way to kind of be like, well, blame YouTube. And then all the comments are like, gave you one, like, because they're commenting on his post, which is external validation. Earlier this week, my mother sent me like 3 separate messages about a memory picture of us, which she shared on Facebook. Within a few hours, I was busy and not replying. Without me saying anything, she arrived at the conclusion that I am ashamed of her because I didn't like the picture. A few hours. She gave her kid a few hours to like the picture before she had to reach out and ask if he was ashamed. Toxic relationships. Absolutely. These are emotional addictions. And there's like a whole 12-step program for emotional addictions now, which I think is necessary. Like, say what you will about 12 steps, and I have some issues with 12 steps myself, but there needs to be more out there for people to A, realize that they have an emotional addiction, and then B, some help, some guidance, some direction with it. And I think almost nobody's aware of their emotional addictions. Nobody's sitting in, like, there's there's so many people sitting in like, I am me. I'm an addict. So I'm an addict. There's rooms filled with people that are just like, I'm an addict. I'm an addict. But nobody is willing to admit that they're an emotional addict. Almost nobody. So toxic relationships, people get hooked on the obscene level of drama and they think that it makes it somehow more real than other people's healthy relationships. And there's a comment that says, I was 100% addicted to my abusive relationship. I thought she cared because she said kind things and love bombed me, but it slowly started to fade and I realized I had to leave, even though I knew I was addicted to the drama. My relationship now is normal and almost seemed boring at first, but therapy made me realize. This is so sad. It is so sad. And I'm sure that people felt this way about me when I was in my BS years. To watch these toxic relationships, to watch your friend or your family be in these relationships that are just ups and downs. There's no zero plateau. There's zero plateau. And you just want to grab them by the shoulders like, can you please come back to earth? Like, why can't you see that this is not healthy, that this is pointless, that you are ruining your life, that nothing can be fun, and nobody wants to be around you guys because you fight. Or you're late to things, you're late to everything because you guys fought for an hour, like. And these were the relationships that I had the pleasure of being around when I was little. So I can recognize them. Not just when I was little. I repeated the cycle in my 20s. Ew. I've been in one. Your brain gets used to all the ups and downs, that it seems weird when you don't have them because every up and every down seems... It's a dopamine. Yeah, it's a dopamine, serotonin are strong. It's a drug rush. Your emotions give you buzzes. You're getting hooked on those buzzes. Negative emotions give you a buzz. I had a bunch of them yesterday. Yesterday was left and right. Bogus. And I can feel my body like getting a rush of emotion. The first adult relationships I had were so much drama. Abusive, almost husband, and then addicted, almost husband. That I couldn't handle normal for a long time. Dated nothing but F-boys for many years. Started dating now my husband at 36. And then I was the one creating problems. Yeah, it's that toxicity is kind of contagious. Even when you're the reactive one. And it reprograms your brain. And then when something feels like you're finally in a normal relationship, you're thinking, this is boring. Your thinking is wrong. It's not boring. It's just not. And when you can go do other stuff. You can actually enjoy life. People who had toxic, abusive, or neglectful parents pick the same type of partner. They lack security and feel safe. You're going to pick what's familiar to you until you figure out why you are the way you are. You're going to just try to recreate familiar situations, even if that's bad. Which is like, I feel terrible because my kids saw some of that too. Now, if you have young kids, there's nothing wrong with splitting from a toxic relationship. You guys can be better parents separate. Or at least one of you can. Kids don't need to see that. And they're going to grow up and repeat that stuff. Procrastination. Making lists of... Oh, this is personal. Making lists of things you should do and then avoiding the tasks. It's oddly and seductively comforting. I can fall into this. No, I actually do hit up my list pretty good. But I'd get something called perfection procrastination. And this channel has helped a lot with that. But where I don't want to do anything until everything's perfect. Like the setting's perfect for that task. And that's never going to happen. So just do it. Just do it. It is. At the same time, you have this guilt riding in the back of your head. The guilt goes away when you put in a good day's worth of work on what you're actually supposed to do. But man, that's hard. Doom scrolling. Another personal one. Currently sitting in my car procrastinating going to my room by doom scrolling. My only advice for that is pick better platforms. I cannot just sit there. If I have any kind of feeling of boredom, I get real squirmy. So if I'm just sitting there, like in a waiting room or something, or even at home, I'm going to pick up my phone. I cannot just stare. I can't stare. I read. Reading is a good one for that. And you cannot, if you have a doom scrolling addiction, you can't read on your phone. You have to get a book or a Kindle. Because you'll go onto your other apps, and before you know it, 20 minutes passed. Reading, keeping your phone in another room, and then choosing better platforms. So, also culling your feeds. Like, I don't get that much value out of Instagram. It's mostly pictures. I'm not getting a lot of value. It's cool. It's fun to look at people's pictures. It's fun to look at your family's pictures. There's not a lot of, like, you're not really learning anything. So I would say if you could go over to your Facebook and get more informational pages, more of like your hobby type pages, stuff like that, you'll probably feel better about doom scrolling. I don't know. I think that's, almost all of us have this one. Mobile screen addiction, kind of the same thing. I was just talking about this with my husband because we were talking about when we were carving pumpkins and we're like, we don't even have newspapers to put under the pumpkin. I was like, oh my God, newspapers were our grandparents' Facebook. Like, they were getting all the dirt, all the crime, all the news, like, that was their Facebook. And they had their nose in that paper every morning for hours. So, have times really changed? Not as much. Not as much as one might think. Toxic positivity. Yep. My mom. My grandma. They're all like, oh, just reframe that. Like, this, it gives me the stop it. If something is very bad and something is bothering somebody, that is not the time to be like, well, at least this, or, you know, I don't know. It kills me. I don't even know how to articulate it right now. Maybe these people can. Not everything that happens is good or inspirational or makes you stronger. I went through this when my wife died in 2020 and had to listen to people tell me not to be sad, that she'd want me to be happy. She died at 41, effing cancer, and I am allowed to be upset about it. Negative emotions are real emotions, and invalidating them with mushy, gooey, toxic positivity. Oh, positivity is toxic AF. I cannot stand toxic positivity. Not only is it harmful in circumstances like yours, where they don't want to allow you the space to grieve and the space to feel feelings, but it's basically saying, express your feelings, but only in ways that are pleasant to me. That's the problem. The person that you are trying to communicate with, who you're supposed to love and trust, is squashing your feelings. I'm a huge advocate for complaining and bitching. simply because life does effing suck sometimes. Even if it's something small, all that positivity horseshit does is tell people to bottle up their feelings so they can be digestible to everyone else at that. Exactly, plus it encourages people to ignore or suppress their feelings. Everyone gets angry, sad, resentful, bitter, jealous in their lives. And if you don't accept and acknowledge those feelings, you can't work on why you're feeling them. I think everybody should see a therapist at least once per year, get the same way they are supposed to get annual checkups for their physician. Even if they don't need ongoing therapy, mental health deserves a checkup too. Like, even in a working environment, don't come around me, like, come over here and complain about something with me. And you always get that one worker that just wants to spin everything into a positive thing. And I'm like, that's just detachment. I don't think you've really processed that. I guess, it's just, I'm against toxic positivity. I voted out. Checking Reddit, skin picking, definitely, usually comes with other mental health issues, or substances too can make you real picky. Sugar, oh my god, it's terrible. I've gotten way worse since I had cruise. My sugar addiction went up because I used to hate sweets. And then I had to be off dairy. And I found out that Oreos were dairy-free, and I was struggling. So I started eating Oreos, and I swear to God, that kicked off my sugar addiction. So now I go through phases where I'm like really good, and then I'll have like a dip. Definitely, like I'm off the wagon. Like I was off that wagon this week, and I'll probably be off the wagon for another week because we've got so much holiday stuff going on and Halloween and all that. And they put it in everything now. Stuff that didn't used to have sugar in it back 50 years ago is full of sugar now. Somebody said, if sugar is so bad, how come Jesus made it taste so good? I was reading something one time that was talking about how if we didn't have sugar, and then sugar came into the picture right now, and they started doing studies on it before they were like, well, can humans eat this? The studies would be like, this is a drug. This isn't a food. It's a drug. So it kind of clicked for me then, like, wow, yeah. And I've seen people, especially at AA, you kind of have to trade one addiction for another, right? Pouring sugar like this. This is them pouring sugar. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I'm just like, what the, oh, like, am I unpunked? They just poured a whole cup of sugar into there, and I have to sit here and act like nothing's going on. What the heck? What the heck? I used to be a heavy coffee drinker, and when I quit, the withdrawal sucked, but after that, it was all, like, all my problems went away. I had more energy overall, way less anxiety, better bladder, sleep. Yeah, the caffeine to bladder pipeline, it's terrible. It's terrible. Like one cup of coffee, and I'm like in and out of the bathroom all morning. Like it just does something to your bladder. I don't know what it does, but validation. So that's kind of like the external validation. Escapism as a whole, daydreaming, social media, movies, video games, virtually anything that makes you not aware of your current physical surroundings. Okay, I don't see a way out of that one. Have you met the physical surroundings? Have you met the conditions? Persistent daydreaming can be a big sign of ADHD in women. A lot of women with ADHD internalize the symptoms And that is why they go undiagnosed. Correct. Their ADHD isn't as in your face as a kid whose body won't be still. So that's huge. That's huge. And I know I talk about neurodivergence on this channel all the time, but there are different presentations in, little boys show it one way, and little girls tend to have it going on in here. But my son wasn't in here. My older son wasn't in here too. So it kind of was flipped for him. And then you go undiagnosed for way too long. If your brain feels like a train station instead of like a train, that's kind of the difference. A lot of people have a very like smooth path up there. And if you have a train station and half those trains are off the rails, that's a big sign. That's me. It took me years to realize I'm probably ADD or ADHD because I wasn't disrupting the class. I fell asleep with my eyes open while standing up one time in 5th grade. And when I woke up, I was laughing and chomping hard on gum. The teacher was mad because gum was a big no-no in elementary school. And it took me years to realize what was actually going on. Very sad. News addictions. Yeah, I don't think that's talked about at all. Some people are addicted to news. Like, that's really all they want to take in is news. Somebody said grandparents, take note. And then when they're addicted to fake news, excitement. This is most prominent when people create drama out of their day-to-day lives, creating unnecessary mental stress on yourself. I think I've been reading for too long. We'll just do a couple more. Social media and gambling. Gambling addiction is more insidious than something like whiskey because people hide it from their family for a long time. You can't smell it like other addictions. Yeah, my dad was like a huge addict to many things. And even me, I would have to go I was so parentified. I was by my mom's side and my dad's side. When he would get paid, if you didn't go get the money that you needed, you're a kid, you need your lunch money or you need whatever, before he made it out to like the casinos and drinking, then you weren't going to get it. And like all of his wives would have to go get his check, help him pay the bills first, and then he could be off to the races. Like, ew, are you his mom? Weed. You can have an addiction to anything, yeah. Me and weed aren't like that. I can take it or leave it. I mean, there are days when I kind of need it, but I never overdo it. Yeah, if you have withdrawals, you probably should address it. Somebody said lip noises. Is that what we have? Noise addictions? Corn. You know what I'm talking about. Makeup. My mom can't go to the store without makeup on. She even finds it hard to go to her parents' house without makeup because she might pass someone she knows on the 5-minute drive. It's really hard to watch because she's such a beautiful woman and taught me a lot about self-confidence. Well, yeah. I think the problem is, like, I don't have to wear makeup all the time because I'm just, like, lazy a couple days a week. Problem is that one time you go out looking like total crap. Like, you go out looking like if somebody saw you, they would think you were off the wagon. Like, that you just crawled in from 3 days out at the bars or something. That's when you're going to see somebody that you know. Like, why is it always like that? You go out looking fine or even cute. Nobody. But the one time you got to run into Target for a staple grocery and you know you look like absolute shit, you're you're going to see 3 people that you know. You're going to be like, oh, don't look at me. Sorry. All right. If you are still there and you watched this all the way to the end, I truly appreciate it. I hope that you have a good rest of your day, rest of your evening, and a good night.